could be the start of a major telecom war. Consumers across the country can now avail Reliance Jio services from today, as the company has opened its doors to all potential users having any 4G enabled handset, a move seen as an aggressive quest to garner 100 million subscribers. All services will be free until December 31st, after which Jio plans to charge 149 rupees for unlimited voice calls. Also, the Jio SIM, which so far was available only at Reliance digital stores, will now be offered through multi-brand outlets and mobile phone shops as well. The SIM will be available at nearly 2 lakh stores across the country. Rubina now joins us from outside one store in the national capital. Rubina, how's it going outside that store? Are people queuing up for getting that SIM?
They were queuing up, they are still there, and the store got so crowded that Reliance had to put down the shutters. As you can see right there, the shutters are down of the store. They're letting people in one by one. But yeah, it is really crowded right now. I have one such person who's managed to get a Jio SIM.
Finally.
Yeah.
After
So
1 hour, 1.5 hour of wait.
Okay, so which network are you shifting from?
I'm shifting from Airtel.
Why?
I don't have network in my place, so I'm shifting from Airtel to Jio.
But do you know about Jio plans and
I've
Jio?
heard the reviews, so they're giving like a 3 months offer, like free 4G and free calls. So maybe the network would be good, so I'm shifting from Airtel. That's the only reason.
Another person with me here wants to shift to the Jio network as a second SIM and not the main SIM.
Yeah, it's like a second SIM because they are giving students extra data. That's why I want to take a second choice. That's why.
So as you can see, it is still getting crowded. People are still there hoping to get their free Jio SIM.
All right, Rubina, thanks very much for joining us with that. And let's, of course, go straight across to Kunal Dua, the editor-in-chief of NDTV's Gadget 360. Kunal, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Good news for Reliance. A lot riding for them, and these queues both in Bhopal, Delhi, we've seen in other places as well, is good news for them.
I think a good news, but as expected, because we know India is a data-starved country.
Yeah.
And like the voice calls might be cheapest here, but the data, especially on 4G or 3G, continues to be available at a premium. So it's no surprise given what Reliance is offering, and especially the offer of free data and free other usage till December 31. I don't think anybody would be surprised today.
Right. But also, as we've been pointing out, this is likely to disrupt the market for its competitors. How much should the competitors at the moment be worried with this kind of attractive packages being thrown by Reliance?
I think they'd be worried, but they'll also be getting ready to respond with price cuts of their own. I think Airtel has already done that in a sort of a way. I think recently they released a package which brings down the price to as low as 51 rupees per GB, which is what Reliance has been talking about. So I think more as through this week and maybe next week we will see, because these like we saw that lady who wants to switch away from Airtel, so I think you'll see that in a bid to retain customers, you'll see that these telcos are slashing rates. And we've also heard reports of people, that anybody who's looking to port out of their existing network, the telcos are offering discounts and freebies, which is something they've always done, to be fair.
Yeah.
But now with the Jio, with the Jio launch, that takes a certain amount of significance.
But one thing that, a competitor has spoken about is the fact, and also consumers, is that the network issue now. Reliance seems to have better optical fibers, more spectrum, more coverage in terms of the network. So, and as consumers have pointed out, that network is an issue with other competitors. So, is that something that should worry them? I mean, deep pockets here in terms of the spread?
I think in theory, yes. They do have a wide deployment of fiber optics, which is powering the entire backbone of the network. They are using spectrum, which is again theoretically more efficient, and you should get better reception indoors. But again, the question is, how does it actually pan out? Are they able to deliver on that promise? Once millions of customers actually go on their network, will the network choke, or will it be able to sustain? Again, in theory, all looks good, but the real, I think, impact will be felt maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks from now, when when this initial rush dies down, everybody is on there. And again, I think the bigger challenge for even the network will be customer care for Reliance. I think that is something they're not really.
That's been a point of worry.
They're not really known for that. Anybody who got a Reliance, a handset back in the day, they know, like once they got a billing error or once they had any kind of an issue and then they had to head to a Reliance store back then, I think it was game over practically.
So that's something they can work on and have had trouble in the past. But Kunal, speaking finally on the spectrum auction that's likely to happen soon. Now, you know, the government is expecting huge bids on that, but that's something that now, you know, across the board, companies are a bit tentative about, saying that, look, we don't have that kind of money to buy spectrum.
Right. So I think officially we haven't heard anything from companies, but there has been talk that they may not be as enthusiastic now as they would have been, let's say, a month ago, because they might want to focus their energies on, because see, if they have to slash tariffs on data, or that means their income, their revenue will go down. So they have to probably readjust their plans, and so that might impact the spectrum auction as well. But I think we'll find out more about that pretty soon.
Kunal, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Kunal there pointing all of that to us, of course, on a day when we've seen long queues outside shops to pick up those SIMs. But as Kunal pointed out, customer care and, of course, reaching that optimum level will be a challenge for Reliance as well.